Hey everybody, welcome into Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. Yeah, we're going to talk about Hurricane Ida. It's almost a full year, but we're still trying to put the pieces together to get our community back together. And there's a couple of ways that maybe we can help people get their housing back to date. And we're here to talk about it is, of course, Chris Pulaski is the Terrebonne Parish Planning and Zoning Director. Kelly Cunningham is the Director of the Department of Housing and Human Services for Terrebonne Parish. And Rick Armstrong also is a housing specialist with the Terrebonne Housing and Human Services. So guys, thanks so much for being here. And there's a couple of different things I know we want to talk about this time. One is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, and the other is the Weatherization Program. Two different things, but two things that can help kind of piece, as we're saying, kind of piece everybody back together and get them back going as far as housing. So these might be programs that people don't know, don't understand. So that's what you guys are here to hopefully clear some things up. So let's talk about the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program first, Chris.
Sure. So the Hazard Mitigation Program is a federally funded program, and it's just that, to mitigate hazards. So as it pertains to people's homes, the hazard is both your elevation. So if you're below the base flood elevation, then you run the hazard of having your home flooded. Additionally, Ida was a wind event. So the other hazard comes from high winds. So the mitigation that would occur in that situation is we build to a high set of standards, not just building code, but better than building code.
Like the day
fortified, right? Fortified roof, that kind of thing. So the state recently announced $80 million for Terrebonne Parish was allocated. Now that includes the $17.68 million that was already allocated to Terrebonne Parish several months back. And a lot of that money was used to fund the current hazard mitigation program that we have for home elevation or reconstruction. Now, most of the applications that we received were for reconstructions. Of course, those homes that we rebuild through that program will be built to the +2 height. So whatever the base flood elevation is, add 2. And that's what we would build that house to. And we're also looking to build it to the highest set of standards that we can for as much as the program will allow. Now, we received, a little over 100 applications for this first round, and that's all it is simply the first round. There'll be future allocations coming and future programs set up. But that program is capped at $150,000 per structure, which is why I've been on the program with Clay Knockham before to talk about the demolition program that the parish has. It's very important that if anybody has a home that they're looking to participate in this program with, that any demolition of the old structure is done through the demo program. Because if you use hazard mitigation money to pay for the demolition, which it would, but that's that much less that you have to put towards the new house. Additionally, $150,000 is a pretty low number when you're talking about building to a high set of standards. So we're hoping that we might be able to find other funds either through the state or whomever to help subsidize some of those costs.
Again, piece some of those things together. Now, the what you're looking at, the level is a 50% level of damage to the house or what the house is worth, right? That's what you need to qualify?
That's one of the eligibility requirements, is that your home was substantially damaged. Now, what that means is if the cost of the repairs are more than 50% of the value of the structure, that's what FEMA determines to be substantially damaged. Now, the main focus of the parish right now is those folks who are in special flood hazard areas. Now, if you live in a flood zone, then that's a priority that we need to put on those applicants, because FEMA requires that we mitigate those structures that were in special flood hazard areas that were substantially damaged.
So it might have been damaged by wind, but since it's in a flood zone and you're below the base elevation, you'd still have to raise it, even though maybe it didn't never flood it. Right. But you'd have to go up to 20 feet or whatever it is, maybe down in lower parts of the parish.
That's correct.
And then you would go to 22.
Correct.
And but so when you raise a house like that, that seems like that seems like that would eat up a lot of that $150,000.
It's certainly not cheap. Now, a lot of the money too is spent on, like I said, the hardening of the house, building to a higher set of standards. But, the homeowner does have the ability to do other add-ons. There's only so much that's eligible to be paid for. Like FEMA, a quick example. FEMA will allow you to build a deck around your home if it's elevated, but that deck can only be so many feet wide, let's say 4 foot wide, right? If you want to go 8 or 10, you can do that. It's just the homeowner has to have that add-on under a separate contract with the same contractor, because the grant can only pay for what it can pay for.
Right. I got you. So again, it probably, once you have people working with you, it's probably not quite as complicated as it kind of sounds, and maybe it is. How can somebody get help to do this?
Yeah, great question. So yes, we in an event like Hurricane Ida, which was so massive, I mean, that type of program with the number of applicants that ultimately we're going to have, it's not something we could do in-house. So we hire out consulting firms to aid us with these programs. Right now, we're sort of in between. Like, we put in an application, so those are being processed, and now we're gearing up for the next round of applications that will be due at the end of October. So right now, if anybody's interested, I would encourage them to contact the RAMP division, which is Recovery Assistance and Mitigation Planning, the RAMP division at Terrebonne Parish, and the phone number is 985-873-6565. Jennifer Gerbasi is our mitigation planner. She runs that division, and we're looking to bring on some additional staff to help her, in-house staff. But in the meantime, we're going to be working through some consultants.
And there's no more COVID restrictions. People can walk up and help out, or do they have to call to?
Well, no, they would need to call first. Yes. Those offices are in the government tower building, but she's right now kind of a one-person show up there. So I would encourage to call or go onto the website, tpcg.org/ramp, RAMP, and they could email Jennifer. And then that way she can reach out to them and set up an appointment.
How quick would somebody be getting this grant money and to rebuild? And I say that because obviously we're in the middle of a storm, and probably in a storm season, hopefully not a storm. So, and these are probably areas where people are still rebuilding from some past storms. And so now you're going to have a couple of grants overlapping or issue, hurricanes overlapping, but how fast will they get it to rebuild before this hurricane season or next?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side of it, is it does take a long time. At this point, I can't tell you that, you would have you'd be able to start building at, June of 2023. I can't,
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you that we are still closing out programs from Gustav Ike.
Gustav and Ike.
Gustav
that was 2008.
2008. And it's 2022. In case anybody. Yeah. You heard it right. It's 2022, and we're still closing out. That's some of these programs. That's how long it takes by the time you go through, and sometimes you hit a stopping point, and you gotta kind of go back and start again. Some people drop out of the program, so then we pick up somebody else. It's just a matter of making sure you have the right applicant. They meet all of the requirements. There's a lot of requirements. It's not something that just anybody can, if you've had homeowners insurance, that's not what these programs are designed for. It's for those folks who were either had no insurance or were underinsured.
Oh, that's wild. So we're definitely going to have time to talk about the weatherization program. That'll be, we got another segment to talk about it, but off segment, and probably, I don't know the answer to this, so I probably shouldn't ask. The Ile de Jean-Charles folks, I've been seeing on Fox 8, they were all moving like this week or something. Is there something new to that?
Actually, just this morning, we signed the certificates of occupancy which will enable the state to go to closings with those residents. I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, the state's working on getting. I mean, I think anybody who's bought or sold a home knows that closings are,
Right.
a big deal, and it takes a lot to get to them. And I think they have 12 that will be going on, but I would anticipate that, in the next, coming weeks, that they should be setting those up. And of course, for us, the contractor for the state is finishing up some of the remaining punch list items on the subdivision itself, and we'll be bringing that to the parish council for, your typical dedication and acceptance like we do every other
That
subdivision.
subdivision is going to be out by St. Bridget's, kind of
Correct.
across the way over for Water Plant Road out in that. So
Right around the Chevron, that big blue Chevron building in the
right,
back.
right back there. So those folks you won't be rebuilding. None of this money will go towards Ile de Jean Charles anymore, or will it?
Well, I mean, there may still be residents on the island who weren't part of that program
I
that
thought
would
that-
be
I
eligible.
got you.
But no, those residents, part of the deal for that resettlement project is they wouldn't be able to participate in something like
I
this.
got you. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Kelly and Rick as we talk more about government assistance programs. We'll be right back on Going Public.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Pelican Waste and Debris is your local company. We don't just work here, we live here and understand the unique challenges that face our region. Our commitment to our community and customers and love for Louisiana keeps us motivated. Pelican meets every residential and commercial service need, offering roll-off, front-load, and compactor services, ideal for hotels, restaurants, apartments, construction or industrial sites, and much more. We also make recycling simple and cost-efficient, offering single-stream recycling program options. We have set the highest standards for environmental protection, community engagement, and guaranteed client satisfaction. Visit pelicanwaste.net or call us at 985-873-9553 to save money with hassle-free service. Our team has over 100 years of experience, so we know how to make you happy. The sky is the limit, so fly with the Pelican.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. We're talking about housing and housing assistance for folks that are trying to recover from a storm, whether it be 2021 or 2008 in some instances. Chris Pulaski's here, Kelly Cunningham, and Rick Armstrong. They're with the Department of Housing and Human Services for Terrebonne Parish. So Kelly, let's talk about your program, and this was the weatherization program. First of all, can you explain how this differs from what we had just talked about with Chris, and how other people may apply or may apply together? How does this work?
Sure. Again, this is also a federally funded program. It's funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. But the purpose of the program is to reduce energy costs for low-income households. And we do this by increasing their energy efficiency, and we also improve the health and safety of their homes. So households can apply to our office, the Department of Housing and Human Services, but to be eligible, households have to be at or below 200% of the income poverty guidelines for Terrebonne Parish. So essentially, a household of two could earn up to $36,600, and a household of four can earn up to $55,500 a year to be considered income eligible. So income eligible applicants will receive an energy audit. It's a computerized assessment of their home, and we also inspect all their energy equipment. But brought Rick here with me because he can describe, what steps are taken after we do that energy audit.
So when they come in, obviously you're talking about the audit. It's almost like a vacuum, right? And then they have a number that shows you how much energy is going out of the house. And so that's part of how you apply and how you receive a grant here?
Well, that whenever they apply, after they're qualified, then we go in and do the diagnostic testing.
I see.
And that'll tell us where they're burning the most electricity or the most gas and water. And then what we will try to do is to save them as much as possible on their electric bills.
Yeah. So Kelly, what can they do with assistance? Can they help with insulation? Can they help with maybe solar panels on the roof? What happens if they do qualify and they can get assistance?
So when the energy audit is done, an inspection is done to determine what needs are there to increase the energy efficiency of the home. So it could be wrapping a hot water heater, putting insulation in the attic. It just depends on what situation the house is in at that time.
Yeah. Is it just that simple, Rick, or can you go, hey, you need newer shingles. You need maybe to put a steel roof on top of the, can it get to higher, or is it more just cosmetic like that?
No, it's more like cosmetic. Now, if there's things that need to be done to the roof, we will examine those and we will, tell them and let them know what needs to be done. But we will go in and we can insulate the attic, we can insulate the walls. And by doing the diagnostic testing, we put it into a computer program. We take a lot of pictures. We put that into the computer, and it will tell us what we can and what we can't do. And that program was designed by the Department of Energy.
Yeah, that's a real big thing right now, particularly with the energy prices, right? And the cost of, we still rely on a lot of natural oil and natural gas for a lot of our energy costs. So I mean, we all paying the same bills, right? It all seems like it's doubled from a year ago. But that's real important. So if they qualify, if you start doing that, will it also give them grants to help pay for their energy sources?
So we do have a separate program called the LAHEAP program, and we're actually taking applications right now. So someone can apply. The income guidelines are pretty similar, and you would receive a credit, if you determine eligible, a credit on your utility bill.
And how many folks do you think will be interested in doing something like this?
Well, I think that there are 300
right.
people at the Civic Center today where we're taking applications.
Oh, wow. So, and y'all just getting started on this, right?
Correct.
So it's getting out, and I guess this would be something somebody would really want to help out, right?
I think it's much needed right now for everyone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Now, also part of the doing that would be finding people to do work and all. Y'all would have people to help them with that, or do they have to find a contractor?
We actually have our own in-house crews, but we also do use outside contractors if we need to, because we are kind of short-staffed right now, but
you would be the contractor, is what I'm saying. So
Absolutely.
that you don't just go, hey, go get it done and we'll write you a check, right?
That's right.
So you help people, because like I said, I know a lot of folks, you see them all the time. They're still living out in their trailers, right, outside of their house. They can't find a contractor to do the work right now. So that would help to have somebody doing that kind of work. So what's the most, like, if there's one thing people need to do, is it windows? Is it multiple different things?
No, it's usually multiple different things. Just what the weatherization program does is we try to stop the outside air from getting in. And a lot of times it could be just needing to caulk windows or put weather stripping indoors. But a lot of the times it's what we call communicating between the house and the attic. Because whenever we do the diagnostic testing, we put the blower door in the door, we put a negative pressure in the home. And that shows us where a lot of the leaks are. And a lot of times it's when the hot, humid air is coming from outside or from the attic. And then your air conditioner has to work that much harder to dehumidify and to cool that air.
Right. And yeah, no, I mean, it's a common issue. Obviously, you got to have airflow in a house, and
Exactly.
you got to make sure you do it right. You can't just caulk it all up,
No,
and then you
no.
that wouldn't be good either, right? So it's nice to have a professional to be able to do it. Now, this applies for brick and mortar houses. Can it do mobile homes? All of this?
Yes, we can do mobile homes. We can do stick-built houses, brick houses.
Okay, so how would somebody apply for these grants? Okay.
So they can call our office, and the number is 985-219-2910.
And I see that you do have priority populations.
Yes. So it would be anyone at or below 200% of poverty guidelines for Terrebonne Parish.
Oh, I got you.
Yep.
Well, I was reading elderly people.
Right. It is. There are priorities for elderly and families with children.
Right. So when you talked about 4 people, $55,000,
$500.
that could be kids?
Well, it's the entire household. So if you have a household of 4, the gross income for that household.
But they don't have to be working age, right? I mean,
Oh,
it could
no,
be-
it
right.
doesn't matter. As long as it's just based on the number of people in the household.
I got you. So it could be your grandparents. It could be a couple of generations of people.
Absolutely.
And you might only have one income. So that would really help out a lot. So, Chris, let's talk a little bit more about what you were talking about. And how do folks get in touch with you guys? It should be an email or phone call. Y'all know not at the Civic Center like they are right now.
Correct. When we had the previous application batch open, we did hold some outreach. I think it was at the Municipal Auditorium and one at the Dumas. But we will be doing, like I said, another round of applications. So I would encourage people to be on the lookout for any of those meetings. But for the time being, if someone is interested, at least saying, look, I'd like to get my name on the list, so that way, once we have our consultant in place for this next batch, they could go to that list and start calling those people back and getting their information and really putting them into the system to see if they would be eligible. And that's our RAMP division with parish government. It's the 985-873-6565 is the number. You can go online to tpcg.org/ramp, R-A-M-P, and Jennifer Gerbasi, you'll see her email address there, and you can send her an email.
And you were talking, you had a little over 100. How many folks could you look for?
Well, I mean, it's really just a matter of how the allocations are doled out by the federal government, and then what other projects is the parish in need of that hazard mitigation money would be used for.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to just go to this one
It does
program.
not have to go to just housing, although housing is a top priority. There are other projects that we need just as bad. And we're talking about major, public facilities and things like that. But again, the hazard mitigation, whatever project it's being utilized for, it has to have as part of it that function. You're mitigating a hazard.
I got you.
We can't use it to, go build another, softball field or something like that, right? Not that that's not important. It certainly is. But it's not mitigating a hazard.
Yeah, let's not get the recreation folks involved right now. Hey, Kelly, same question. You said there was 300 people that showed up at the Civic Center. How many people can you take into this program?
So the people at the Civic Center were actually applying for utility assistance, which is a credit to their bill. But for the weatherization program, it's a rolling program. So it's annually. We do get a contract every year. So this year, we're probably going to weatherize at least 30 homes. But it will continue. We'll continue to take applications every year.
And I would imagine there's some comorbidity, right, in those groups, right? You're over there looking for a little help with your power that say, hey, this might also help you. Why don't you get in this line and look for the weatherization, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I guess it never stops, right? And you guys are always looking for, ways to help people out. And I guess if anybody's really having a tough time, I know a lot of people are having a tough time probably paying their bills right now. There might be a program they need to just call and find out where they might fit, right?
Yeah, I would encourage people to contact parish offices and see whether it's Kelly's department or ours. I mean, although and just be patient with the person who's taking that call and explain to them what it is that you're in need of. Now, they may not be the right person,
Right.
but hopefully they can get you directed to the
somewhere.
right person.
Right. They can go somewhere and there'll be some kind of program, hopefully, that can help out and get people back to, where they need to be. So, guys, I appreciate it. So, Rick Armstrong, Kelly Cunningham, and Chris Pulaski, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. That's Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. We'll see you guys next time.